Ready now, Sean?
Yep. Aloha, everyone. Nice to see you all. Welcome. Hey, Peter, Eric, nice to see you. Glad you made it.
Glad to be here, my brother. This is awesome, man. You do awesome.
And
awesome
you're even losing income. What an honor. But
yes, it is. For a worthy cause. Totally good. You bring light and life to the people. And awareness.
That is so nice. Thank you.
And comedy. Yeah. Always good to be here.
And Lynn, glad you got in. You got my link, right? Apparently some people have not got the Zoom link. So
Oh, I had to look in a different place completely than my inbox. So, well, it was in the inbox, but it's over in a different category and I hadn't expected that. So, and I did get another inbox or another IANDS notice of this. And I thought that was the confirmation and it wasn't. So it was like, why did I get another invite?
Because I've been having technical difficulties for the last 24 hours. And nothing seems to have been working the way it's supposed to.
I want to say hi to Jack O'Neill. I haven't seen him in months and months and months. Hello.
That's right. You guys met in A Course in Miracles.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Alan.
Hi.
Aloha, everybody just coming in. Feel free to put in the chat where you're from. And we'll get started in a few minutes. Just letting everyone come in and sending a few links to people having trouble. So nice to see you all. Yeah, and everybody, David loves seeing faces. So if you feel comfortable, turn on your camera so he can see your face and we can connect with you. You don't have to, but it's always nice.
Oh, pretty.
And those of you just joining, please put in the chat where you're from. So nice to see all the different places that people are from. Be starting just momentarily. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to do some housekeeping and then we will get started. So want to welcome everyone to Hawaiian IANDS. I'm Sean Lether and we have a few announcements about our upcoming events. Next Tuesday, our friend Trisha Barker, if you know her, which I think most people do, and we're going to be doing a live on YouTube. I did a interview with her. Hey, David, can you send a link to Rochelle? She can't get in. Okay, so we're going to have this live with me and Trisha next Tuesday. It'll be on her YouTube channel. There's a Facebook link in the chat and then also her YouTube channel. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of NDEs, SDEs, whatever people want to talk about. So please join us. Also, there's a link to the last interview that I did with her in March, which was really fun. So if you want to check that out, and it'd be great for you to join us. Also on Tuesday, July 18th, we'll be having our monthly Hawaiian IANDS sharing group. Anyone who has had a near-death or spiritually transformative experience or is just interested in them is welcome to attend. And the link will be in the chat. And then on Tuesday, July 25th, will be our second experiential healing or holding workshop with tonight's speaker, David Maria. So there will be more information on the Hawaiian IANDS website as well as Facebook about that. So you're going to definitely want to try that out. Also, the IANDS conference will be held in Washington, D.C. this August 30th through September 4th. You can purchase tickets at conference.iands.org. I hope that you all come. I'm going to be speaking there and also running the Experiencers Lounge, which will be pretty fun. Also, to stay notified of all of our events, please sign up for the Hawaiian IANDS newsletter, which somebody will put in the chat. And this event will be recorded, so you can watch a replay on the Hawaiian IANDS YouTube channel. In case we go over tonight and somebody needs to leave early, don't stress out because there will be the recording, because we might go over. What we're going to do is after David speaks, we're going to take questions and answer, and then he'll answer them for you. And then we're going to do meditation type exercise. So if you have to leave early during the meditation, don't worry about it. There'll be a replay. And lastly, I want to remind you that all of these events are a labor of love for me, and it's very important that I keep them free. Many people think that we are part of IANDS. We're not part of IANDS. We're just an individual IANDS affiliated group. They don't send us money. We send them money. So in order to help keep all these events free, if you could consider please donating whatever you feel that you can donate, $5, $10 you can either go to hawaiianiands.com, click donate, or the other chat that's in the link. Okay. Can we now make sure that everybody's muted and that they can't unmute themselves so that we're going to start and introduce our speaker? Is everybody muted? I hear some background. Right. Okay. Welcome to Hawaiian IANDS. I'm your host, Sean Lether. I'm thrilled to welcome our very special guest tonight, David Maria. David Maria is the living embodiment of the Eden Template. He's a conscious embodiment guide, a natural-born mystic and seer, multidimensional facilitator, intuitive coach, and the creator of the Eden Template. He works with a multidimensional team within the I Am Presence, whose transmission accelerates the process of the Eden Template activation. David's sacred calling, holds this container and assists others to step out of the limitation of logical linear thinking, fear, pain, and lack. His essence is deeply gentle, nourishing, and kind, just like his heart. Like the ancient masculine holy man, there's no judgment in him, only love and a powerful presence. Some call him a great seer, others call him a true master. He is both. You can find out more about David at the website below in the chat, which is theedentemplate.com. Welcome, David.
Mute myself. Sorry about that. Hi, Sean, and hello, everybody. It's really, really wonderful to be here with all of you today, and I'm very much looking forward to everything that happens and sharing presence with you today.
Could everyone make sure to mute yourself, please, if you're not muted? Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, David. Go ahead.
It's all right. So, as I said, welcome everybody. And Sean, I've not participated in your speaker format before, so I don't know if you were going to continue talking, or if you're just handing the program over to me.
The floor is all yours now. And yeah, and but as a, if you'd like, if you could share a little bit of your backstory and how you got to where you are now.
Well, my backstory is
You just got muted. Unmute.
I didn't mutiny. My backstory is not something that I talk a lot about, except within the context of, and this is really and truly how I'd like to approach the whole conversation that we're going to have today, is that when we make the decision to take birth, when we decide to come into incarnation, we, each and every one of us, we are the ones that choose what we want to work with in this particular lifetime. And that includes choosing the family that we're going to be born into. I can tell you from personal experience, sometimes when we're aware as a soul, and we make these decisions, and then we come down into this realm and say things like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Because I chose to take birth into a really, really difficult family. And I now know, I didn't know then, but I now know that part of that was to come in and end the energy, in the dynamic, the familial dynamic that was going on, both on my mother's side and my father's side. So I went through violent physical abuse, from beatings to sexual abuse, mental abuse, and emotional abuse. So I got the full quadfecta. It wasn't necessarily the most enjoyable experience that one could imagine happening. And yet, like with all of us, whatever it is that we have gone through, whatever that we have walked all the way through and come out the other side, it transforms us into who we are. So even though that wasn't a really fun journey, going through and experiencing some of the repercussions of that, such as drug addiction for many, many years, being dysfunctional as a human being, not having a clue how to, I never received any familiar bonding or familiar guidance. And that may sound really unusual. At the same time, I'm grateful for it, because it left me eventually, not at the moment I was going through it, but it eventually left me with the ability to discover myself. So my journey through most of my youth and my young adulthood to mid adulthood was spent not being in the body. In my experience, being in the body was not safe, and I know that a lot of empaths on the planet experience something very similar, because it just doesn't feel safe to be in the body. So I spent most of my time back here. And it wasn't until I was, I think, 72, somewhere in there, until I actually celebrated a birthday having been in the body. And that was after my first experience and trip in going to Africa. So in 2018, all through that year, I became obsessed with Africa, which was really unusual, because Africa had never really been on my radar at all. But I became obsessed with reading and studying and looking at maps and feeling my way into it. And then at the beginning of December, I started having really deep lucid dreaming. And I've always been a lucid dreamer. I've always had really complex and very elaborate dreams all of my life, but this took it to an entirely new level. So what those dreams were was that I dreamt that I was in Kenya at a friend of mine who runs a school there for orphan girls to go through high school. His name is Vincent Kantuku, and I've known him for a very long time. I built his website and took care of that for decades for him. And we were just hanging out on the edge of the savannah, just enjoying the sunset and the stillness of the evening dusk. And suddenly 3 African kings appeared out of nothing. They just transported themselves. And I didn't just start crying in the dream when I saw them. I started sobbing because I recognized them. I knew who they were. And I went up and embraced each one of them. And the third one that I embraced, he was like this. He put his hands up really stiff and very formally told me and said, "We're kings. We don't hug like this." And I replied, "That's okay. I'm a king too." And I hugged them back, hugged them again. And then they invited me to go out into the bush with them. And I took that, and I knew what that meant. That meant that they were inviting me to come and study with them. And so we began walking out into the savannah. And I said, "Wait a minute, what about my friend Vincent? Can he come too?" And they started laughing. It took them a while to get their composure. One of them thought it was the funniest thing that he'd ever heard. And finally, when they could get their composure, he said, Vincent's Kenyan. He's African. He can come here anytime he wishes. He doesn't need our permission. But you do. You have to be invited." So I didn't understand what that truly meant at the time. And what followed next was maybe another 11 or 12 additional dreams, all of which turned out to, I didn't know this at the time, but every single one of them turned out to be prophetic. And they all came true. So the next day, one of my friends, the next morning after that dream, one of my friends called me and said, "Sit down, don't think, I'm going to ask you a question, and just give me the first feeling from your body, from your gut." And I said, "Okay." And they said, "Are you being called to go to Africa?" And I laughed and shared the dream with them. And then it turns out that they were also being called. There was 2 other people that were being called. And we knew fairly quickly that there is an event that happens in Kenya, around Mount Kenya, or Mount Kirinaga, which is the Kituyus people name for the mountain, not the westernized name. And it's an annual event that happens on December 27th, where everybody circumambulates around the mountain while doing prayers, which is an all-day affair. So I started looking into what it was going to cost to be able to do this. And it was just not even close to my budget. Last minute tickets, and Kenya and most of that section of Africa is a Christmas destination. People from all over the world flock there for Christmas vacations. Kids are out of school and they come there to go on safaris, et cetera, et cetera. So the closer you get to Christmas Day, everything becomes more expensive. So I didn't have the money. And the day after looking, a friend of mine, David and Diane Hall, they called me to say, we have the guidance that you have to be in Africa. We want to buy you a plane ticket. So they bought my airfare, and multiple other miracles. It's the only way that I can describe them, is miracles. Something would arise as a difficulty and it would be taken care of immediately. So I wrote to my friend Vincent, who has extensive knowledge of Kenya, and asked him if he knew of a hotel that's close to the airport that I could get to and maybe have some breakfast the next morning, and close to, hopefully, to a bus station that I could take to go to the town that I thought was close to the starting point for this event. And he laughed and just said, "No, you can't do that. You could if you want to, but you'll never make it in time, because what you don't know is that Kenya shuts down over Christmas, so there won't be any buses running at all. But what I'll do is I'll send my driver that takes me wherever I want to go when I'm there. He'll meet you at the airport, he'll take you to the hotel that I always stay in, and they'll feed you breakfast, and then the next morning he'll drive you where you want to go." So then that all came into being, and the night that I arrived, the next morning, my two friends, Teresa and Beth, they flew in, and so the driver went and picked them up at the airport, and they drove us to the city where we thought the prayer vigil was going to start. We were wrong. Even though we talked to the organizers, we were wrong. We ended up on the northwest side of the mountain, and the event starts on the southwest side, about 2 hours from where we had gotten. So we checked on start times, and we left in plenty of time to get there. We left ourselves a good window to arrive on time. Unbeknownst to us, instead of starting at 9, they left Nairobi early so that they could be there, and they were ready to start at 8. We're still driving there. It's the day after Christmas. It's all 2-lane roads, and if you've been anywhere in Africa, there's always people walking on both sides of the road. You can't drive fast, you can't speed, and so we're just on our way. And the event people start calling us and asking us, "Where are you?" And we told them, and that's when we discovered that they had left an hour early. We didn't know. And there's no way that we can speed up, that we can't get there faster. And yet they keep calling us, "Where are you? Where are you?" And eventually I said, "Look, this is an all-day event. It takes over 7 hours just to drive around the mountain. So go ahead and start without us, and we'll catch up." It's a long, we're going to be doing this all day long. And they're going, no, you don't understand. You have to be here. And we started looking at each other like, what are they talking about? I had no idea. And I literally had no idea that not only did the people there, did the seers know that I was coming, they'd also had conversations with several elders in the Hopi Nation down in Arizona, and they told him that I was coming. And they'd already announced to the crowd that I was coming. I didn't know any of this. So we finally arrived there, and this was before COVID. So there was a fairly good turnout. There was maybe around 800 to 900 people there. I'm not sure of the numbers. And my friend Teresa and I, we were the only white people there. We got out of the car and we're looking at this sea of Africans. And I think what came out of my mouth was, this is going to be really fun. And little did I know what was going to happen. So this turned out to be a true destiny point. And what I mean by that is that we walked across the road from where we parked just to join the back of the crowd and wait for whatever prayers were going to be given to initiate and begin the actual prayer vigil. And no, they came and got us and brought us up front and turned us around to face the crowd. It was really embarrassing and also an honor at the same time. And then they introduced us to all of the officials, all of the people that were there that were working in terms of organizing the event. Except for a couple of them that I've met on multiple occasions now, I wouldn't be able to recognize them. And eventually I was introduced to a man that is the obvious priest, if you will. I didn't know at the time that was going to do the opening invocation and prayers. And when I was introduced to him, looked in his eyes, and he was the man from my dream. He was the king from my dream. And he looked at me and smiled and said, "David, I dreamt of you." And his name is Samuel Kamitha. He's a seer. He's the seer that is the communicator, the one that communicates to the outside world. And I looked at him and said, "Samuel, I dreamt of you too." Now, on the outside, I was as calm and composed as I am sitting here talking with you today. But on the inside, that was a whole different story. On the inside, it was like this. I was just a complete jumble of energy, just going every which way that you can imagine, because I had just been shattered. Just everything exploded in 1,000 pieces. Now, this annual prayer vigil is a really big to-do within Kenya. I think there was 4 television crews there and a couple of radio crews. And it's covered every year. And it's been going on for thousands of years. It was banned almost immediately when the British invaded and stopped them, withdrew permission from them from the people to be able to do their traditional ceremonies. So Samuel said that he looked at the crowd and he said, "These are some of the kindest and most gentle and generous people that you will ever meet. And except for me, there's not a single one of the person here that knows who you are." And I would have to include myself in that list at that time. I didn't know who I was, or yet. It was to come. And then he said that obviously all of these people are waiting for this invocation to begin the prayer vigil, but afterwards, when it's complete, then I'll give each one of you and your friends a blessing. So he did the invocation, and as soon as the invocation was over and everybody began the process of departing to go on to the next stop where they would do prayers, immediately all of these TV crews stuck their microphones in my face and asked me why I was in Africa. "Why are you here?" And apparently in that moment, I had the gift of tongues, which meant that I had 14 tongues, and they were all speaking in different languages and all speaking at the same time. So what came out of my mouth was absolute gibberish, just absolute. I have no recollection of what it was that I said, but I can say that very wisely, not a single television station carried that particular portion of their interview. They interviewed the other people. They interviewed Teresa and Beth, and that went nice. But that's just an example of how much I had been shattered, because I was close to non-function. I mean, I could still stand and walk, but right now I consider that to have been a miracle unto itself. So the invocation was over, and everybody was departing to continue going around the mountain. And then it was time that Samuel was going to give Teresa and Beth and myself the traditional Katuyu blessing. And he did that with them. And when it came time for me, then he heard that small, still voice that every single one of us knows when it speaks. He heard that small, still voice say, "No, give him everything," which he did. And it was literally like being struck by lightning. And when I say literally, I mean literally. 5 or 6 times within the course of just a few seconds, it would just jolt after jolt after jolt after jolt. And for the rest of the day, I was pretty much completely non-functional. We did do the full circumambulation around the mountain, but driving on windy, twisty, uphill, downhill roads, I was like a bobblehead in the back of the car. I was having difficulty controlling my body. It was a very large, but not unmanageable, but it was manageable. It was a very large shock to the body. And after the prayer vigil, we then returned to Nairobi and spent some time in the game parks down there. And whenever during that time frame, Samuel would call me occasionally, maybe just a 1 or 2 minute conversation, and I would have to lay down on the ground because my body was shaking. There was so much energy rolling through it that laying full on the ground without shoes was the only way that I could stabilize the energy inside of my body. At one point, one of my friends went, "Oh my God, look at how sunburnt you are." And I was just like unbelievably red, but I had not been in the sun. I've been always careful because, I mean, look at me, I am kind of white. And it was the middle of winter for where I was living, so it wasn't like I had any suntan, so I was being careful. But this was the energy coming out from inside the head. And after that, then I had several private meetings with Samuel where we spent the entire day just talking, just conversing. And at one point, I told him of a dream that I'd had, that in this dream, the current 12 seers, and there's always been 12 seers in this tradition, that the current 12 seers were standing around me with their hands on my shoulders, and then behind them were the 12 from the previous generation, and the previous all the way back through. And Samuel said, "You've been accepted." And I said, "Yeah, that's obvious. That's the normal interpretation, but that's not what the dream was. The dream is that I'm the 13th." And he said, "No, that's not possible. There's never been a 13th seer in our tradition." So I let it go. I returned home. I was living in a small village on the Oregon coast, and I sat in my living room for 3 months, just staring out the window, just letting the energies and the awakened energies flowing through the body begin to adjust and integrate. And I was, to the outside world, I was pretty non-functional. My next door neighbor at the time was convinced that I'd had a psychotic break, called one of their friends back in New York that is a renowned psychiatrist, and described my quote unquote symptoms, and concluded that yes, he is, and he needs to get into treatment right away, or he's going to end up being institutionalized. And they would come over all genuinely concerned, and I would just sit and smile and laugh and just say, "No, that's not what this is," because everything was beginning to awaken in me. So that's just one trip. That's just one trip. And I immediately I was so excited. I wanted to go out and share what I'd had. And I got some really, really good advice, which was, don't do that. Just stay home and continue to do your inner work on yourself, clean your act up. And all I can say is that my act needed to be cleaned up. And so that I spent another 2 years just being quiet, just being in stillness, returned to Africa for a trip in 2020 and went again in 2021, 22. Only this time when I went, they told me that they were going to give me their final initiation. And traditionally, in order to receive the initiation as a seer within the society, you have to go into the primeval forest by yourself and fast for 40 days. And at the end of that 40 days, then you can receive the initiation. And what is traditionally done is that you are given a series of herbal compounds. The first herbal compound puts your body into a coma. The second one transforms your consciousness. And if you survive that process, because not everybody did, but if you survive that process, then they give you the third herbal compound, which brings your body back out of the coma. I didn't have to do that. I was told there was a specific reason for it, and that's okay. It would have been nice to have done it, to have the experience of it, but nonetheless, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not easy to have a home here in the States and be gone for 2-3 months. So what this initiation was that it removes the final veils between an individual and their full awareness of multidimensionality. So when we take birth, when we come into make the decision to come into incarnation, into a body, and we definitely have this backwards. Culturally, probably the most unkind lie that we have ever been told. So when we take birth, we contract from our full self, living in spirit, living in formlessness. We contract into this body, and when we finally come into it, one of the first things that happens is that we forget who we are, and we disconnect from the awareness, the full multidimensional awareness that we all possess, that we all have. And of course, then when we actually die, then we return to that phenomenal expansiveness in spirit, and all of the veils are removed that have been put on top of us, or that we've accepted in terms of our enculturation. So what happened was that those veils were removed. It was a phenomenal experience to have gone through. And then I almost immediately got COVID, got the Delta variety. And I think in the course of maybe 3 days, I died 9 times. Now, depending upon who you're talking with, many of my friends will say, yeah, you were definitely dying. Several friends said that they reached out energetically and grabbed a hold of my feet to keep me from going. But I had a different perspective on that. From my perspective, it's like, oh, it's like a teenager having been given a car for the first time, and it's always full of gas, and so you can go anywhere you want. That's kind of what it was like for me, is that I was just traveling. I was just going, oh, I can go visit this star system. I can go to that dimension. But the body definitely went through multiple death experiences. So when we die, and especially when we die and we come back, and I'd like to speak directly to all of you that have had near-death experiences. When we cross like that and come back, when the first thing that happens when we cross over is that depending upon what our belief systems are, depending upon what our conditioning or accepted conditioning is, and it doesn't matter if that is conditioning from our families, from our cultures, from our countries, from our religions, it doesn't matter. That becomes a filter, if you will, or a lens that this is what we look through. And if you don't have any filters, then you can see clearly what it is that you're experiencing. If you have these filters, and there's no blame, there's no judgment in having them, but if you're still carrying belief systems, it doesn't necessarily cloud your perception, but it alters your perception or limits your perception. So as part of that death experience and coming back into the body, depending upon how much each individual has been able to let go of, has been able to surrender while in quote unquote back in spirit, then what it does is it creates this space inside of you. And that space allows the energy from source, from the creator, from God, to be able to flow into you. And it creates more expansion in your brain, creates more expansion in your neural patterning. It creates more space between each and every single one of your cells so that you actually become more spacious. And you're able to hold and carry more energy in direct perception and hold that and contain it in your body without overburdening and overamping your nervous system. And I've come to more than a few of Sean's monthly sessions, and I've participated in other groups, and I'm always really surprised at the number of people that have had whatever kind of near-death experience that they've had, where they've actually, they're completely and totally aware that they've died and that they've come back. And that for whatever the reason, they've not been able to integrate that energy. They've not been able to stabilize it in their body. I have a good friend whose horse was caught in a fence, and while they were attempting to release the horse from it, it kicked out, and its rear hoof hit her full on the side on the face. It completely shattered the face, but that's another story. But she definitely died and went into the void, and was well aware of how phenomenally at peace that they were. Didn't want to come back, and her husband at the time pulled her legs and started pulling her back in, which she was very upset about, but she didn't want to come back. And that is not something that they have still, even though it's over a decade since that happened, they've not been able to integrate the energy of it. I worked with her quite a bit, didn't seem to help. She worked with some Tibetan monks, because they're very familiar with all of the death states. And I only mention that because there is a lot of misunderstanding over what it is. Some people have experiences of meeting Yeshua or Jesus. Some have experiences of meeting Buddha or Muhammad. And to me, what that does is it takes the experience of the expansiveness that you have, and it contracts it down into a much smaller container than what it is really possible to glean from. In some cases, I've met more than a few people that have had experiences that it was more than they were ready to be able to experience. And by that I mean none of us here, I'm pretty certain none of us are here, are silly enough to walk up and take some screwdrivers and disconnect the power coming into your house and then grab that live wire. And that's what it's like sometimes if you're not ready, if you haven't done some, at least a certain degree of inner work on letting go of yourself. That's what it's like sometimes when those jolts from spirit come. It's exactly what it was like in Africa for me. So having the ability to do some kind of practice, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what that practice is, that helps you surrender yourself. Because really and truly, we're all going to end up surrendering the entirety of ourselves. The more that we can do that before we die, the easier it is to step into those expanded states of awareness, those expanded states of consciousness. And it's not so jolting on the nervous system. So the world's mental institutions are just absolutely filled with some of the most genius people on the planet, and they woke up too quickly, and it just overamped their nervous system. And yeah, they're still here, but they can't function. They can't take care of themselves. They have to have assistance to be able to do that. So I know that I'm kind of rambling just a little bit here, and I don't really mean to be rambling. I'm just allowing the stream of energy as it's flowing through me to guide me in what direction. So taking all of that into context as being, quote unquote, the story of my life. And many of you here know that stories don't matter to me. We all have stories. I'm usually more concerned, and most of the time only concerned, with what does it feel like. But if you look at the overall picture of what my life has been and what I have experienced in relation to trauma and abuse, and how dysfunctional I became as a result of that no matter what happened, there's still, and this is true for each and every one of you, there is still remaining inside of us that has never been touched, it's never been traumatized, it's never experienced dysfunctionality, it's never experienced anything except the awareness of who it is, and that is the creator, that is source consciousness. It's present in each and every one of us. And that's why I always say that no matter how broken you think you are, or you think you may be, no matter how traumatized your life may have been, and therefore you're traumatized, underneath all of that, there is always that pure spark of the divine that lives in each and every one of us, and it's who we are. We just have to, remove the lenses, remove the filters that are over our eyes, that are over our perception, our conditioning. and it doesn't take a rocket science to see how much conditioning is present in the world. And it has been said that the earth is school, and I agree with that completely. We are here to master ourselves. We are here to master the energy. We are here, and through that mastery, we clean ourselves up. We clean up our physical bodies. We clean up our energetic bodies. We clean up our emotional body, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And underneath all of that, there is always that small, still spark that is very still right in the center of our heart. And it's always present. I don't care how many layers of trauma have been put on top of it. It's there. And and when I say no matter how broken I think you are, you're not. Because the you that you think you are, which most people believe that they're their thoughts, we're not our thoughts. Thoughts are just, thoughts are like gangsters. They'll do whatever they can do to take your attention away from discovering who you are. I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Joe Dispenza and his team determined through research that the average person thinks between 70 and 90,000 thoughts a day. And a high percentage of them, 75% or more, are thoughts that are just being recycled from the day before and the day before and the day before. There's nothing original happening inside our craniums. We have to step outside of the container that we've allowed to be formed around us in order to have a direct perception of who we really are, and be able to then stabilize that energy, stabilize that awareness, that consciousness within us. Is it really, really simple and easy? Yes and no. It's very easy to talk about it. Not so easy sometimes when it comes to actually doing the clearing. And when I say that, that completely ignores what we all know as grace. And when grace comes to us, which it always comes, maybe not on our timeline, maybe not on our schedule, but it always arises. It always emerges from within us when it wishes. It's not something that we can control. So knowing that grace could happen at any moment with any of us, myself included. Trust me on this one, I am not done cooking. I still have more than a few uncooked seeds in me that I know are there. They get less and less and less the more that you cook. But if I have anything that I would like to say is that really and truly, that spark, that divine spark that resides in your heart, even if you can't feel it, it's there. It is there in everybody. This is why people travel halfway around the world or even farther sometimes, just to go sit and be in the presence of somebody that knows what that spark is, that experiences it. And when I say no, it's not an intellectual understanding. They become that spark. And the reason that people are attracted to them is because when they look at us, when they see us, they don't see all of the filter stuff. They don't see all of the noise, if you will, all of the white noise that surrounds us. they see the divine spark that lies inside of each one of us, and it stimulates it within them. It activates it within them. Although I don't really like that word, even though I use the word activation in terminology about some of the classes and courses that I offer, I'm not capable of activating anything inside of you, because it's already you. How could I or anybody activate something that is already present inside of you? It's you that do the activating. It's you that do the awakening. It's you that remember who you are. We just need to do a little house cleaning, just exactly like cleaning our houses. And I say that laughing at myself, because I didn't really clean my house today in anticipation of this class. It's nice. But when, we all know what it's like to do a really thorough spring cleaning. All of a sudden, all of the stagnant energy in the house, it just starts to flow away, and everything is nice and bright and squeaky clean. That's all we're really doing inside of ourselves, is we're just cleaning ourselves up. We're just removing all of the filters and the veils that have been placed upon us, that we have accepted, and then we rediscover or remember not only who we are, but who we've always been. So that's about an hour's conversation somewhere in there, Sean.
Yeah, could you talk just a little bit about how you received the transmission that you now call the Eden template, and then just explain a little bit of the Eden template, and then we'll take some questions, and then you can lead us in a.
So the Eden template came after that first initial contact with Samuel Kamita, when I was in Kenya, and we were in the national park, which is just phenomenal. When just the concept of it, it's over 100,000 acres of park that has every animal that you can think of that comes to mind in Africa, within 10 miles of a city of 14 million people. And so we were out in the park, just slowly driving through it, hoping to see as many animals as we can. We did see everything except lions that particular day. And Samuel called me on the phone. And as I explained a little bit earlier, when that phone call came in, it was another one of those jolts of energy, and I had to lay down on the earth, and it's the only way that I could stabilize my body. And the way that transmissions come, I can't speak for other people, but I've heard that it's the same for a lot of people, is what my experience is. They come in just instantly, and then gradually over time, you get to open them up and they unpack. And when I say over time, it's whatever it is in each person's experience. So the Eden template came in as a silver sphere, smaller than a baseball, maybe half the size of what I would perceive a baseball to be, and it was flecked with gold. And while I was holding it in my awareness, then it opened up and unfolded. And then during the course of dreams throughout the night, because I didn't really sleep that night, all I did was dream the entirety of what this transmission is. And let's just say that sometimes I might not be the brightest bulb in the room, because the dream has to happen multiple times over and over and over and over and over to make sure that it's fully embedded in my consciousness. not quite so much anymore, but it was then. So I think I had the dream maybe half a dozen times, something like that, just fully embedded into every single cell in the body. That particular transmission is now the very first class that I offered, and it's now the beginning class in the 3-month longer, the 11-12 week long course that I offer called Freedom from the Known. And each one of the additional classes that are now part of that course sequence, they have, let's say that they've always come through as dreams. And sometimes I know exactly what they are, and it's all done. And other times I go, I don't have a clue what you're showing me. And so let's just say that sometimes I have to study excessively in order to really understand what are the full ramifications of what I'm being shown. All of the classes have come through that way, every single one of them, and they continue to do it. And the latest class, which has only been shared once, and it still needs to be refined, it is a class on death and dying. And the real intent of a class surrounding death and dying is to learn how to die now while you're still in the body, and to learn how to die every single day, because you're so present in just this now moment that you don't have time to look back onto your past or to daydream about a future that may or may not come into existence. So that's the short version of your answer of your question, Sean. It's actually a multi-day concept to be able to really go through. So, but the way that transmissions come to me, and I cannot speak for anybody else, this is just how it works for me, is I receive them coming through the ground, and they stay for a while. They stay only in this area up. Sometimes the downloads are so intense. Many of you know that I live in Mount Shasta, and there was in the winter when I was up on the mountain, walking in the snow, and some downloads started, and my head overheated, even in that frigid cold that was up there, because it was very cold that day. My head got so hot that literally all of my hair was drenched and soaking wet, and I have long hair, so it takes a while. It takes a lot of sweat to be able to completely soak the head. And the only way that I could cool down, because it was becoming really uncomfortable, was to just go stick my head in the snow and completely up to my shoulders, and just stay in there until it got like a brain freeze going, and just to reduce the temperature. So that's how I receive them. That's how they all come. And sometimes they are, let's just say that everything that I've said going up to this point has come like that during the course of the day today, and it's just been unpacked to where I knew what I wanted to share with all of you.
Beautiful, thank you. So if you guys want to put your questions in the chat, send me your questions, and we'll go ahead and ask David that way. And just go ahead and send me whatever you would like to ask, David.
Well, while people are doing that, I would. You can find a lot of information about me on my website. You can find a lot of information about my history, not necessarily my story, but my history, just the sequence of events that have happened. You can find that on my website or on the Facebook page.
You know, that's actually a really great question to start off with. Is so many people have a story, and even near-death experiencers have a story. We sometimes exchange the old story for the new story. So that's actually a great, explain the difference and how even with near-death experiences and so forth, that we still attach to a story.
Well, we still, when that's happening, then we still believe that we are our thoughts. We still believe that we are the experiences that we have, and we're not. That's not who we are. We're so much more. And trust me, we all love stories. I mean, everybody has a story, and with that meaning to be glib, anything. It's at one level, it's like, who cares? We all have stories. And mine happens to be, in some moments, a little bit dramatic. But the story is not the point. For years, nobody asked me the question that I really wanted to answer, which is what happened with your consciousness after you had these experiences. And that's really and truly the only thing really worth talking about, is because all of those experiences, every single one of them, has contributed to the dissolution of who I thought I was. Because who I thought I was is just an illusion. It's just a fantasy. It's not who I am. And it's your story is the same. It's not who you are. Who you are, you connect to inside through your heart. But you have to, and yet you have to be willing to surrender yourself. You have to be willing to let yourself dissolve, because you cannot use your mind in order to experience the Creator. You cannot use your mind to experience God. You can have an intellectual understanding of what that means, and that understanding doesn't mean anything until you experience it directly. And in order to experience it directly, the you that you thought you were has to dissolve. You can call that ego if you want. It's okay. It doesn't matter. But who you think you are has to dissolve in order to have an experience of who you really are. It's like walking into one of those carnival house of mirrors, where everywhere you turn, you see a different version of you, and it looks different. Sometimes it's distorted and stretched, and looks weird or whatever. And none of those reflections are who you are.
How long did it take you to integrate the downloads?
I'm still integrating the download. I don't know that it ever stops. I really don't. So am I like everybody else in that I'm still cooking? Absolutely, I'm still cooking.
Somebody wants to know what were the first steps that you took to start teaching this?
Sitting in my living room for 3 months, staring out the window with a next door neighbor that thought that I'd had a psychotic break, and then spending maybe another year and a half, year and 3/4, just doing work, just cleaning myself up, just sometimes working with others. I had no idea what it was, what comes through me. I had no idea how to describe it. I used to be a web developer in one of my previous lives. And so I started building a website, and then I had to write about myself, and I had no idea what to write about myself. I still didn't have, I was completely clueless. And so I began by offering one-on-one sessions for free. I did that for 6 months just so that I could get an understanding of what it is, what is it that comes through me? What is the energy like when it comes through me? What is it like when I'm working with the person? And what is it like when the person that I'm working with has an extreme trauma that might even be close to becoming debilitating? And I did that for 6 months just to be able to experience, and tried a lot of things, did a lot of things, and finally the awareness settled in that this is what works. And I'm not saying that I have something different than anybody else. I just know what works with me. That is the natural inclination that I have when the energy comes through me. I always know what to do. That it may sound surprising, but most of the time, whatever happens in the context of a session, I have no idea what it's going to be. Sometimes, most of the time in classes, I don't have a clue what I'm going to say until it begins to come out of my mouth. It's always spontaneous that way. So I think it was in don't hold me to an exact date, but it was maybe a full 2 years before I offered a class, and that was just to a few friends of friends here in Mount Shasta, with my good friend Karen Weispendel and Helen Quayle, and we did a presentation together, and then one thing led to another, and here we are today. Always in the present moment.
So would like to know, which, by the way, do you have deer in your yard a lot? While you were talking, a deer came up, which was awesome.
You mean through the window?
Yeah. So I was just curious if you have a lot of deer, but yeah, one came up.
Deer are regular visitors. It's not unusual that I'll go out and there'll be an entire herd of maybe 9 or 10 or 11 of them laying in the backyard.
So would like to know how, speaking of environment, does your physical environment change when you're in it now compared to where it used to be, how you used to be, if that makes sense? Does that question make sense?
Repeat it again for me, Sean, please.
Actually trying to find it again. It disappeared, but so where are you? Do you want to just unmute and ask it yourself? Because I can't find it. So just a sec. Let me find So. Are you there, So? Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, you ask. I cannot find it.
Hello, David. Thank you so much. Everything about your presentation was just so uplifting. I'm feeling energy all around me right now, and I want to see you're talking, and I also want to close my eyes and just bask in all this energy around right now. I just wanted to ask you, after your whatever happened to you, I don't even know what word to actually use. there's no word. I mean, everybody uses a different word. Have you noticed a huge change in how your immediate environment responds to your presence, like human beings, your neighbors, animals? Just now you're saying plenty of deer outside, so I guess that sort of answered that. And I mean, just the whole physical world around you. Do you notice that there's this sudden difference in how they respond to you just being there?
The answer is yes. And it's exactly the same as what you just described by just being here and listening. So one of the things that does come through me, especially in context of class or courses or gatherings such as this, is that my auric field is able to expand to such a degree that it is large enough that everybody in the group, no matter how big the group is, and I should qualify that this is one of the larger groups that I've worked with. There's like 90 people here. My aura is large enough that becomes large enough that all of you can feel it to whatever degree that you're able to do that. And that's the same with going out and talking with the deer in my backyard. That's the same with having an interaction with the person that's at the checkout counter when I'm buying groceries or getting groceries or buying something else. Everybody that I meet, here's the really short answer. And yes, Sean, I see the deer walking by the window. So every single person that I meet, I see them. And I don't mean that I just see them as like, oh, hi. No, it's deeper than that. I remember who they are. It's constant in all of my experiences. So if I go to a grocery store and I interact with any person or with one of the employees, I remember who they are because I can see them. And everything that we have stacked up on top of ourselves is this really hysterically funny movie that we're playing, that we've somehow have forgotten that we are creation itself. And we're just playing this role of, well, no, I'm a clerk in a grocery store. No, I'm a doctor, or I'm a dentist, or whatever it might be. I'm a chiropractor. And we forget who we are. And yet for me, it's not possible for me to forget who they are. There's a wonderful quote by one of Sri Aurobindo's students asking one time, how should I treat others? And he laughed and said, there are no others. There aren't. There really aren't. It may look like there are others, but behind all of the bubblegum wrappers and the compost that we've forgotten to take out, and et cetera, behind it all, there's just source. It's all of creation. And that's who each and every one of you here are.
I want to remind everyone that on July 25th, David is going to lead us through a whole exercise. So tonight, we're just going to close it out with a shorter one. And if anybody needs to leave early, feel free. There'll be a replay. But I just want to remind you all that on July 25th, it's free. And we'll go through a whole exercise. And with that, why don't you?
Now, is that a WHOLE or an HOLE? It could be both.
It could be both, actually. Honestly, since I've done some of your exercises, I think sometimes the HOLE comes first and then the W comes afterwards.
So without going into detail, Sean, no, you can put me back on screen with you. What we discussed earlier about your experience with one of your other presenters, that they needed a few minutes. I need.
Oh, you need a few minutes. Okay.
I need a few
No.
minutes, so I'll be right back.
No worries. Awesome. We'll just take a minute and while he does what he needs to do. We were joking because if those of you who saw the thing that we did with PMH Atwater, she had to take a break right when we started. So anyway, that's the part of the fun of all of this. But I can tell you, having taken many of David's workshops, it's quite amazing, especially how the ones on like letting go of the pain body and the fear body, they're truly transformation. And I know some people that take them over and over again because it's helped them so much. So definitely wonderful. And hopefully he will be back. I think there you are.
Yay. So as Sean knows, because he's participated in it, I offer an 11 to a 12-week course called Freedom from the Known, which is a very deep dive into consciousness. And it takes you through a process of removing all of the layers, all of the filters that we built up around us, whether it's through our direct family, through our mother and father, through our parents, whether it's through our ancestral line, our familial line, or whether it's cultural, whether it's religious, whatever it is. I've often said that anymore, I don't believe anything, because a belief is a limiting filter that alters your direct perception of consciousness. There are things that I know that are true. That's different than a belief. So if any of you feel resonance to that, you can find out information about that on my website. But really and truly, to be able to journey deep into consciousness, you have to go beyond everything that you know. And that's what the course is designed for. And there is a class beginning this Saturday, and it will run for approximately 3 months. If you feel resonance with everything that's happened today, I look forward to joining and sharing with you. And as I have often said, I go through these meditations and classes with everybody. I am still learning, so I go through the class with you at the same time. So I would like to share with you just one small little piece, because we're close to an hour and a half. Just one small little piece of what it's like to work with energies. And one of the things that has been very present recently is to work on forgiveness. Forgiving others, forgiving ourselves. And in the context of that, if there's anybody, not just from this lifetime, from any life with it throughout your entire incarnational stream, which could be thousands to millions to billions to trillions of lives, in terms of all of the phenomenal journeying that we have done. If there's anybody in that incarnational stream that you still hold judgment against, that you've not been able to forgive, whatever it might be. Anytime that we hold anybody in judgment, what we do is the natural reaction to that is that in our perception, we take them out of being source. We take them outside of being the creator that they truly are, because we're holding them in judgment. So what I'd like to share with you is just a small little exercise. This is just a little piece of the overall work that goes on in the classes. And it's actually quite simple. It's incredibly simple, but yet it's very powerful at the same time. So what I would like each of you to do is make yourselves comfortable, or you're probably already comfortable. And then I'd like you just to close your eyes and begin with a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth with a gentle, gentle exhale. And as you continue to breathe, if you notice that there's a place of tension or stress in your body, just send the exhale of your breath there. Because every time that we exhale, we let go. It's an act of surrender. It may be very small in terms of the overall piece of who we are, but nonetheless, it is an act of surrendering. We can let that relaxation comes with that surrender flow to any place that there's stress or tension in the body, just to allow you to relax as much as possible. And then begin to really come into your body. Most people that I meet have not been in their body. Some have never fully been in their body. So begin to concentrate and condense the energy in your auric field and bring it into the body and really come into your body all the way in. This may bring you deeper into the body than you've ever gone before. But come all the way down to not only your little toes, but the toenails on your little toes, so that you're fully present in the body. And then take all of that energy and ground it at your root. Knowing that men and women ground in different places in the body. Most women, not all, but most women will ground in their wombs, and most men will ground at the very base of their spine. And when you've done that, then send a beam of light from your root down into the center of the earth, into the center of Gaia, and connect that beam of light to the crystal core that's there. And then bring another one back up from that crystal core and connect it to your root, so that you are fully present and grounded in the body and connected to the earth. And then envision yourself sitting in a chair. And that chair can be located anywhere that you wish. If there's a place in nature that's especially sacred to you, Then see yourself sitting in a chair in that space. And then using your intention, which is a function of connecting your brain, your your upper crown to your heart. You just intend that everybody that you have been unable to forgive, no matter who it is, no matter what they may have done, not only from this lifetime, but from any lifetime that you've ever lived. It may be just a few people, it may be a whole lot. Doesn't matter how many appear in front of you. And then using your awareness, surround each and every one of them in a sphere of pink, translucent light, which is light from the heart. And then offer to each and every one of the beings, every one of them that is gathered in front, offer them unconditional forgiveness for anything that they have done or may have done throughout all lifetimes that has caused you hurt or pain. And it's unconditional forgiveness. And notice how they respond. And by respond, I mean notice if they accept the forgiveness that you are extending to them. And after you've extended that unconditional forgiveness, notice all of the cords that will be running from them to you and from you to them, attaching yourselves to each other. And it doesn't matter what the cords look like. They can be nice and bright. They might be cloudy. They might be smoky. Some may be really dark. Some may be really thick and gooey and tarry. It doesn't matter. Just reach out and grab all of those cords and gather them together between your hands. If there's a lot of cords, you can make your hands bigger. But it is possible for you to gather them all together in a bundle. And once you gather them all, take a moment and just come into your heart. Come into the very center of your heart. In the center, no matter how much activity and energy is moving around the periphery, but in the very center, it is still, it is quiet. And let that energy from that still point flow up through your arms and out your hands, and very gently begin to dissolve the cords. Don't cut them, just dissolve them. And as they gently dissolve, the cords running from you and into everybody else will withdraw back into you. And the cords running from them into you will withdraw back into them. When all of the cords have been dissolved and everybody gathered has accepted unconditional forgiveness, you can release them, and they will all float away, contained within their own sphere of pink translucent light from the heart. And as they float away and disappear, notice the difference in how it feels in your body, whatever that is. And then envision another empty chair sitting in front of you. And you call yourself to sit in that chair. And now you're sitting in your chair looking at yourself. And again, notice if there are any cords running between you and yourself. And if there are, once again, gather them all up and run energy from your heart. And just gently dissolve them until they let go. And once they have dissolved, notice what it feels like in your body to look at yourself. Is that comfortable to see your reflection looking back at you? Is it uncomfortable? Is it even stronger? Is it unbearable to look at yourself? Does it maybe even bring you to tears? Look yourself in the eye. Directly, do not look away. And residing in your heart, in the most compassionate and gentle place that you can find, extend to yourself that same unconditional forgiveness for anything that you have ever done to yourself that caused you hurt, pain, any judgment, any unworthiness, any victimhoodness. Doesn't matter what it is. Offer yourself unconditional forgiveness. And notice what it feels like in your body to have completely and totally forgiven yourself. And when you are ready, then both of you stand up from the chair and walk towards each other and embrace. And in that embracing, both of you merge together. And when you are ready and only you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Really beautiful. Want to remind everybody to check out the edentemplate.com. When is your next class? Class is starting?
Starts this Saturday on the 8th.
Yeah. So he's starting classes, and then also remember Tuesday, gonna do a live with Trisha Barker on her YouTube channel. There'll be the event page is on Facebook. And then the sharing group on the 18th, and then our workshop with David, where we'll do a whole full-on session for what, an hour and a half, 2 hours? It's your choice.
It's actually not my choice, it's the choice of everybody here.
We'll decide that then. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who is helping me moderate. And hopefully we'll see you all next Tuesday. With that, I want to say aloha to everybody. Wonderful night. Really appreciate you all. Talk to you soon. Aloha.
Thank you very much for everybody that came. It was such a delight to be with you, to be in your presence and to share presence with you. And I send you many blessings and look forward to being with you again sometime.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.